Hello everyone, this is Ross from Anyone for Science, and in this video I am going to present a bubbles workshop. To follow along with this workshop at home, you'll need to have a few things ready. You'll need some liquid soap, a drinking glass, a plate of any type or size, a cereal bowl, a teaspoon, a measuring cup if you have one, a sheet of paper or card, 2 drinking straws, a sock, a cardboard tube, such as the one you get from a toilet roll, a pair of scissors, and some tape. So let's have a look at bubbles. For our first activity, all you need is a straw and a glass with about 100 or 150 milliliters of water. Your task is very simple. We have to find out what is the largest bubble we can make using only what we have here. So, I'd like you to take your straw, put it into the water, and gently blow. So, unsurprisingly, we're not able to create big bubbles with water alone. And the bubbles we do manage to make, they only exist for a very small amount of time. So the reason we can't create large bubbles using only water is because of something called surface tension. So the easiest way to decrease the water's surface tension is by adding some soap. So here I just have some washing up liquid. I'm going to add 3 drops to my water. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to give it a bit of a mix. So if you're following along at home, I have another challenge for you. The challenge is, how many bubbles can we create in just 30 seconds? So before trying this, I would recommend putting down a cloth or a towel like I have here, as this can get a little bit messy. So let's try. How many bubbles can we create in 30 seconds? Okay, so that has been about 30 seconds. And as we can see, by just adding 3 drops of some soap, it has made a massive difference in our ability to create bubbles. So my tower here is roughly 20 centimeters tall. So how did you get on at home? Feel free to pause the video here and continue building your bubble tower, and make sure to let us know in the comments how tall you managed to make yours. So our next experiment is called Bubble on a Plate, and for it you will need a straw, a plate, and this can be any type of plate and any size will work just fine, and you also need some of your soapy water from our previous activity. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that all of our plate is covered with our soapy solution. So again, this can be a little bit messy when you pour it, so be very careful. And it might be necessary to lift up your plate and gently tilt it around so that all of the edges are covered in a thin layer of our soapy solution. Any dry patches on our plate will cause our bubble to burst if it comes into contact with them. Okay, I'm happy with how that looks. So I'm going to take my straw and I'm going to see what's the biggest bubble I can make using just this. So follow along at home and let's give it a go. So that didn't quite work as well as I wanted it to. So I'm going to swish my solution around once again. Let's see. So what I think I need more soapy solution. I'm going to give it a lot. Now, let's give this a go. So that's not too bad. I had a good one going there. So what I'm aiming for is for a bubble that's covering the entire plate. So I'm just going to tilt it around one more time. I'm going to go again. Now, very happy with that, I have to say. So tell us how you got on at home. Did you manage to create a bubble that covers the entire plate? Next, we are going to make 3 different types of bubble blowing devices. But before we do that, we have to make our own bubble mixture. So we already know the ingredients for our bubble mixture: soap and water. I'd like you to get your hands on a small bowl and a teaspoon. What I'm going to do, I am going to add 1 teaspoon of washing up liquid into my bowl, and that's about 5 milliliters of washing up liquid. So we want to add about 4 times as much water as we have soap. So in this measuring cup, I have 20 milliliters of water. Now, once we have our 2 ingredients in, we are going to mix very gently. So the reason we mix gently is because we don't want to create any froth. We don't want to create any bubbles just yet. If we stir it too fast, then some air will get into it and it'll start frothing up. So, once the soap has been mixed in with the water, you can put the bowl to a side. Let's move on to making our bubble blowing devices. The first bubble blowing device we're going to make is very simple. All you need is an A4 sheet of paper, or you could also use card if you have it. You need some sellotape and you have some scissors. So what I want us to do is to roll the sheet of paper or card into the shape of a cone. So I've done an okay job of it there. So try to make it so that it's narrow on one end and wider on the other. Once you've done that, get a small piece of tape and tape it into place. And if you want, use some extra tape for reinforcement. We would like this end to be flat. So what I want you to do, take your scissors and and cut so that it can stand up on its own. Okay, so I'm going to bring back my bowl of bubble mixture. I'm going to dip the wide end of my cone into the mixture. And once I begin to blow, I'm going to lift it up straight away to see if we can get a big bubble for ourselves. So I'm going to give it a go. Try again. Wow, that was a great bubble. So see if you can try that at home. See what's the biggest bubble you can make using this very simple device. For the next bubble blowing device, you will need 2 straws, you'll need a pair of scissors, and you will need some sellotape. First thing we're going to do, we're going to take our straw, and the straw I have here is made from paper, but any type of straw should work just fine. And I'm going to cut it in half. And this doesn't have to be perfectly in half, but just use your best judgments. I'm going to do the same with my second straw. So I end up with 4 pieces. Then I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to cut every piece that I have in half again. So again, this doesn't have to be exact, just do your best. So you should be left with 8 pieces that are about the same length. I'm going to put one to the side, come back to that later. I want you to lay out all the little pieces like so, with a little gap between each one. Okay, next I'm going to get a long piece of tape, long enough to cover every straw, with a bit to spare. I'm going to carefully place the tape down so it's sticking to every piece. Once you have the tape secure, you can flip it over like so. Now the next bit can be a bit tricky. We take the 8th piece of straw that we put to one side earlier. We want to wrap our little chain of straws around this piece. Carefully roll it around. You should be left with something that looks like this. Okay, let's give it a go. So I'm going to bring back my bubble mixture from earlier. I'm going to dip in one end of my new bubble blowing device. I'm going to blow through the other. Once again. So that's a great bubble blowing device for blowing multiple bubbles at once. Finally, we are going to make a bubble blowing device out of a sock and a cardboard tube. So this is a very simple one to make. Roll up your sock and put it over one end of your tube. So it's nice and taut. So let's bring back our bubble mixture. Dip it in and see, can we make any bubbles using this device here? So, as you can see, you've made thousands and thousands of bubbles in one breath. So the reason this creates so many bubbles is because between the fabric of the sock, there are thousands of tiny little holes. So I'm going to try that again, except this time I'm going to leave the bowl out of the way, and I'm going to see, can I make a bubble snake? Ah, look at that. So try that at home and let us know how long can you get your bubble snake to be. That concludes our bubbles workshop. I hope you've had a great time making lots and lots of bubbles at home. Now it's your turn to find out what else can we make bubble blowing devices out of, just from objects that you find around your house. Best of luck.